Alright, we are good, buddy. Where's my band-aid? Alright, as always, I'm gonna break down the charts first, and then I want to share story time, the complete story time of how God brought me to where I'm at now, the decisions that led up to the point where I'm sitting here on a live call, the camera in front of my face, and just speaking and talking. Let my computer load, let the chart set up, everything load. I'm gonna break down a couple of pairs real quick, and then I'll share these stories on. I want to minimize this and minimize this. All right, cool. I'm going to let me break down UJ real quick. UJ and then go see what the market is doing. I actually don't need to adjust any of my levels right now. The only one that I would change is this 1 hour zone and move it up to the next one, which will be this area. Alright, so what I'm looking at UJ is very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Price, let me go back to the 1 hour time frame. Price, this is the highs here. Let me take this off, take this off. What am I doing? Alright, cool. Prices ranging a lot of crazy wicks, mean wicks, a lot of wicks, a lot of ranging here, but there's still always data within the range. What's happening is prices still creating higher lows, higher low, potential domain expansion here. Price was coming down to these lows, coming up into the highs, coming down into the lows, coming up into the highs of this range, and now price right now is currently not coming back down into the support. If price does continue to keep maintaining right here, price could potentially break out to the upside, and those would be the buys that I'm looking for right here on UJ. Looking very, very clean for this. It's even a domain expansion with inside of this here. Lows, lows, lows. You see how price is not coming down into this lows and it's rejecting it. Price could potentially head up to the upside. And these are the buy positions that I'm going to be looking at right now. What would invalidate this domain expansion? Really, if price starts breaking back below here, this would invalidate this completely. This current area right here It's clean where price keeps on rejecting the bodies right here. If price closes below here, starts breaking below back below here, this would invalidate it as well. For right now, the domain expansion is valid. If price does start to reverse, I will get out and call this a loss. If not, then if price does continue to keep maintaining, my take profit is going to be up into the 1 hour zone. Here, stops to go below the support, and then take profit be up into this zone. And then all the way up into the actual highs is where I'm going to be looking to target up into the next, well, 1 hour zone basically. Longer term right here, first targeting the highs, then next targeting this zone of the highs, and then as always targeting the next area because this is at a 1 hour zone. If price maintains at a 1 hour zone, price could potentially head to the next 1 hour zone, which would be right here. So this is the setup that I'm going to be monitoring for this session on UJ. And all I'm gonna do is just set some alerts. I'm gonna set an alert at my stop loss, and then I'll set an alert right here, the highs, and then whenever price hits one of them, then I will I'll go to it. What I do want to do is I can keep this up. I'll keep it up while I'm doing the story time. Why not? Just to see how I react in the market during live time as well. So I'll keep this up and go to the here. Pull up my chat. Make sure everything is good. What's good, Brody? What's good? Good morning, Christian. Good morning. What's good, Brody? For today, I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to do a story time of how I got to this point. Trading, business, content. I want to share the testimony of it's not even because I must glorify God. In all things that you do, acknowledge the Lord, He will direct your steps. Because, one thing I'm observing now is God is really amazing how God is. The people that are in my life, people that are coming into my life, it's such a blessing, right? Because you all met me where I was currently at, and most of the people that know me in my life now have met me after the transformation, not during the transformation. Because during the transformation, nobody knew me because I was ghost and I was isolated from everyone. So I wasn't talking to anyone. The people that know me now, even the people that knew me before the transformation. But nobody knew me during that transformation. That was that season of pure isolation. Before it was the old person that I was, the old man. Afterwards how I am now, that's what people see now. But I want to talk about that during part, that isolation season. That's the decision that changed my entire life. Because I shared the story time of the decision. I want to share the timeline of what led up to this point. And to do so, I gotta go back to Clemson. I gotta go back to college days, right? Actually, no, I gotta go back to like middle school, but the whole thing. When God gave me exactly what I asked for, and He showed me that I have something bigger for you. I'm going to give you exactly what you asked for, and I'm going to show you why I have something better. And I'm going to show you exactly why my plan is better than your plan, right? So what happened was ever since I was in middle school, growing up, I wanted to be because that's what I was taught to be. Was that really my passion? No. I always said that I'm going to go to Clemson to be a mechanical engineer. The reason why I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, it wasn't because I didn't know how to work on cars. I just liked cars and the environment, the family that I grew up in. I grew up in one of those go to college, get the degree, you beat up, get the good job and stuff. I grew up in that's my family. And I was always pushed into the college to get the degree, mechanic. And when I said mechanical engineering, everybody was all for that because yo, you can make a lot of money, you can make six figures from it. Out of college, you can work for a like a dealership, Mercedes dealership, a nice dealership, and during that time, right before college and everything, family speaks X, Y, and Z. It was during that season, right? And I always had this belief that I'm anything that I put my mind to, I'm gonna do. And I always was like that coming throughout. Like this is how God always the skills that I have now, these skills were always with me. I didn't see them until during that transformation. Because I always wanted everything that I wanted to try, I did it. Football, I wasn't the best at football. Baseball, I was really good at baseball. I played baseball since I was younger. Basketball, I was the worst out of all the sports. And I used to always get laughed at, clowned on in basketball and football. I used to be very skinny. So being very skinny playing football, I used to always get laughed at. Basketball, I was not the best. I didn't have the best handles, the best dribbling. I wasn't the fastest. As well with football, I was super quick, just not fast. So I used to always get laughed on, clowned on, but I still showed up and I gave my all. And I still every single sport that I tried out for, it was never one time where I didn't make the team. And I always made the team. I always tried, I always gave it my all. And it was the last end of the semester. The thing about me is I never had the best grades in school, but I had all the academics. I was a part of everything. I was a part of Mu Alpha Data. I was a part of Teacher Cadet. I was a part of all the clubs. I was a part of I had the college I was taking college classes, so I had so many credentials. And when it was time to register for college, every college that I applied to, I got accepted to. I only applied to three colleges. USC Columbia, what's the one Coastal Carolina and Clemson. I applied to those three and I got accepted to all three. Everybody knew that I was going to go to Clemson, and I'll never forget, God already started planting the seeds. Because I want to, as I'm speaking this out, I realized how God was really planting the seeds well beforehand, showing me the people that he was going to take away, showing me the people that were going to betray me, showing the people that have been talking bad about me behind my back all this long. Because when we got our college acceptance letters, I'll never forget this. It was in my teacher cadet class. And one of the guys, I think he ended up becoming the valedictorian or the Victorian, whichever one, like the one or two. He was like one or two in the class, my entire class. He was super smart. We came into class, you know, we was getting our acceptance letter. You say, yeah, like my mom called me and texted me, told me that, you got your acceptance letter, from Clemson, you got accepted, right? And everybody was so excited and happy for him. Everybody knew that I applied to Clemson. And those people that were so-called my friends in class, they looked at me and, yo, Seer, uh, did you get accepted? And they said that in a way as that like the people that said that they had better grades than me. They were more intelligent than me. They took school more serious than me. I was very smart. Things just came natural and easy to me. I just didn't take it as serious as like they were. I used to cheat at times. I used to not really take it serious. Like homework. When it came to homework, I never really took homework serious. I just cheated. Not all the time, but certain subjects. But when it came to tests, I was very smart. I knew how to remember things very easily. So I didn't need to study a lot, just not it just came to me. I was a visual person. So I used to have certain cues back then in school that would help me remember certain things. It would be certain words, certain phrases, certain specific things about that would help me remember the answer to that. And that's how I studied. I didn't need to do like this 2 week long study thing. And they were like, "Yo, Sarah, did you get accepted?" Da 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 da. Um, because they were expecting me to fail, expecting me to not get expected. Most people didn't expect me to get into Clemson. Being real, most people, majority of the people that knew me did not expect me to get in Clemson. And at that time, I didn't know because I wasn't, his mom called them. I didn't know I wasn't home. So I went home. And then when I went home and got the letter that I got accepted, Then I came back the next day, and they asked, "Yo, Sarah, did you get accepted?" I say yes. I seen the shock because I remember that shock on their face. I was like, "Yo, he got accepted." Like what? And I always remember I asked like, "Yo, you guys are super smart, and I know you guys could get into Clemson." Cause like I was very like humble. Like I knew like a lot of these people they were smarter than me. Like you got better grades than me. You took school more serious than me. And I was like, you guys are so smart. And why didn't you apply to Clemson? Like the same ones that was like laughing at me down, trying to downplay, thinking that I wouldn't get accepted. I was like, yo, you didn't even apply. Why didn't you apply? And it was like, yo, I never would have got accepted. I wouldn't even got accepted. I'm like, yo, you took yourself out the equation before you even attempted to. I mean, I'm gonna at least try it, regardless if I fail or not. Who cares? I'm gonna at least accept it. What's the worst that they can say no? I'm already not going to Clemson. I'm already not there. What's the worst that they could do? Say no? Okay, I'm still not going there anyway. I'm already not going there. And when I got accepted, and I remember doing this thing like on Facebook. I shared all of my acceptance letters. It was like Facebook and Instagram and everything. I shared all of my acceptance letters. It was USC Columbia, it was Clemson, and it was Coastal. And I did the whole like the decision that I'm gonna make, which one I'm gonna make, all three of them, X, Y, and Z. Everybody knew I was gonna go to Clemson. It was just so obvious that I was gonna go to Clemson. But when I had that initial of everybody seeing that I was going to Clemson, my popularity went from here to here, and that's not just in school, but with my family as well. I had family that didn't talk to me ever, reach out all of a sudden reaching out. Everybody wants to reach out. Everybody wants to be a part. Everybody wants to, yo, I'm so proud of you. Like, what are you going to school for? Oh, engineering. Yo, like, yo, big, like, yo, get through it. Yo, make a lot of money, for us. I can't wait till you get to that point. Like, it was, yo, you're going to be the one. You're going to take care of me. Like, oh, you're the one. Okay, you put in the work. All right, I want you to take care of me. And I never forget that. It was like so many people that I wasn't cool with, so many family, all of a sudden everybody loved Sear. Everybody had everything, all the love for Sear. And all of this is going to build up into, because I want to give the complete story time, because I'm doing it live. This ain't no Instagram, YouTube video. I'm gonna just flow. It was this all leads up into that isolation period because all of this is going to tie in because this is why it hit me so hard and this is what built my relationship with God. So remember this as I'm building up to that to the climax, whatever you want to call it. All these people, my family, closest family, friends, everybody loved and supported. And when I got to Clemson on my way to Clemson, I had all the friends. When I got to Clemson, I was always, cool, chill with everybody. And that was my first type of like college experience, that first being out by myself. And, I was never a party person back then. I grew up in, Sumter. You go to a party most likely times than not. If you went to a party back then, the people that I used to hang around, somebody getting the club getting shot up, the place getting shot up. I wasn't. I chose to stay away from that. I grew up in that area, like that city, not the place that I live. I didn't live in the hood, like across the train tracks was the hood, but the city that I grew up in, it's pretty dangerous. They call it Merc City. Um, so I wasn't really big on parties, but I went to Clemson. I was in a whole different environment. I was my roommate was a very big party person. So I started going out to parties. I started, I didn't take school back. I didn't take school serious back then because that was when the pandemic, I call it a pandemic. That was when the pandemic happened back in 2020. And we actually got delayed from going to school. Cause I'll never forget, we got out of school in high school in like March and we ain't never go back since. And when we went to college, we ended up going like a month later because I think we were supposed to go like that August, and then we ended up going like that September 18th or something like that around there. It was close to there. It was close to there because I remember my birthday was like close to it. And when we got there, we didn't start classes like actually in-person classes. I think for the first like almost a month into the entire semester. So everything was just online. I'm just starting off college. I'm going to parties, all this experience. I'm on my own. I don't have no restrictions. I can do whatever it is I want to do. I'm just starting off college. I'm going to the parties. And we got online classes. I was cheating all the time in class. I forgot what that website was. But I used to always cheat. I didn't never take anything serious. I just hated all those classes. The only classes that I actually really liked, I think it was like economics and it was something else. But majority of the classes, I absolutely hated it. I didn't write no essays. I didn't do no math homework. The number one thing, because I had to even drop that class because it was so tough for me. I forgot what it was. It was like science lab. It was like it was like lab something. But I'll tell you, that was the most difficult thing I have ever taken in my entire life. I had to take it twice. I dropped it the first time because I knew I was gonna fail it, and then the second time, I barely passed it. I think I barely passed it. Um, and then going like fast forwarding, going to the parties. I still wasn't that big, that big known, big crazy. So I really wasn't taking school serious. So out the gate, first year, all these high hopes for me, psh, because I wasn't taking school serious. I didn't care about it. Like that was just 1 year, and then it got to the point right where the second semester came around. And this was when we actually started our majors. And my major was a mechanical engineer, so that was one of my classes. You guys know this part, but walked into class first day, huge whiteboard, mega big. It's like when think about wow, you can't see my TV, but it's like a mega big whiteboard. Nothing but math problems, X, Y, and Z. Shh. Imagine seeing that first day in class. I ain't know what none of that meant. And I sat down. I remember I sat down like in the like middle of the class. It was this guy. He was intelligently smart, incredibly smart. He had his book. I didn't have my book. He let me use his book. Like, just look at it. I'm like, cool, appreciate you, Brody. And I already saw the difference. He was so in love with this. He knew all the numbers. He knew X, Y, and Z, all of this. I said, all right, cool. Then the teacher said something like on that first day, it's like, yeah, we got a test Wednesday because we started class like that Monday. And she said, yeah, we got like a test Wednesday on, because we were supposed to study the book. We were supposed to say some things in the book to prepare for it. And we were supposed to have a test on it that Wednesday. So we had to pre-prepare for it. I ain't had the book, so I ain't pre-prepared for nothing. And let me move this alert up some because Price just hit TP1. I'm gonna just let it flow, move it alert some, and continue to keep flowing. And according to continue to do my trade management. But I said, all right, cool. Second day, came into class, big whiteboard, still a bunch of problems, and I said, all right, something ain't right, just something don't feel right. And then the third day, what really clicked for me that third day, the third day, no, we had a test that Thursday because I never ended up taking that test because I stopped going to the class after the third day. But it was that third day, like that Wednesday. I walked into class and something clicked to me, right? My engineering teacher, all she did was teach engineering. She didn't work on cars. She was like giving her background and things of that, and she wasn't working on. I said something clicked to me, and I didn't realize it back then, but then like now, it's like something clicked to me. I said, wait a minute. I'm learning engineering, cars and things of that sort. And my teacher doesn't even do engineering. Like she doesn't actually work on cars. She has all the knowledge of engineering, but she doesn't actually have any field experience. That's like that's like somebody who's like overweight, out of shape, super gut, like fat or whatever, right? That's like somebody like that trying to come to me and tell me I can teach you how to get in shape. That's what it was like in my mind, right? And I said, yeah, no. I remember, never forget that same exact day. I walked out of class because it was like a morning class. I walked out of class. I talked to my advisor. I hit my advisor up. I said, "Yo, can we because we used to like me and my advisor, we used to do like calls and talks." I talked to my advisor. I said, "Yo, can we get on the call?" I said, "Yeah, cool." So how's everything? I said, "Everything good." You know that engineering class? Yeah, what about it? Because this was towards the beginning of the semester. Because you know that if you ever went to college, you know that towards that beginning half of the semester, you have the opportunity to adjust and change your classes because it gets to like a certain deadline where you're locked in. And I was still good within that deadline. And I said, all right, cool. Drop this engineering class. And my advisor said, you know this is your major, right? If you drop the engineering class, you're going to have to change your major. I said, all right, cool, we can do that. Move this alert up some more to the highs. I said, all right, cool, we can do that. And he was like, all right, cool, what do you want to change it to? I had no idea. I said business. And cool, I changed the major to business, and then it actually got easier. My classes were a lot easier, and I still was going out and partying and everything like that. And I'll never forget. It was a point in time. This was like one of the first times I was at my lowest point, and then the second time was when everything really changed. But the first time that I was at that lowest point, I remember I was in the car. That was when I used to like smoke all the time. I used to smoke every single day, and I was in the car because I used to always like just be in the car alone by myself, a lot of times and just chill. And I remember being in the car. I remember like it just hit me. I was like, yo, like you really are a failure right now. Like I'll never forget that because everybody had these high hopes for me. I said that, I'm gonna take care of my mom, I'm gonna do this, these high hopes, you're gonna be an engineer. And I didn't even tell my parents at that time. Like nobody knew. I didn't even tell them that I changed my major to business. They didn't even know. Like I never told them that I changed my major to business. No, the only thing that they knew was I was dropping out. They didn't even know that. Oh, you switch your major from engineering to business. I told them I was dropping out way over that. That's foreshadowing. And I remember being in the car and it hit me. I'm like, yo, you really are a failure. You're not taking school serious. You're failing. Like, what if you failed this? Like, what if you fail and you have to go back home and say like, yo, I failed and I can no longer go to school? It's like, what are you gonna do with your life? At that point in time, I didn't have trading. So I didn't have to say, oh, I can lock in trading. At that point in time, I wasn't locked in. I didn't really take trading serious. I didn't even know about trading. And I knew of trading because I remember that was like around the time Dogecoin became a thing and Dogecoin was lit. I remember putting like a couple of $100 in, but I never took it serious. And I didn't think that was gonna be my way out. I really didn't know because God planted the seed before then. I didn't think about that at the time. I said, yo, I'm really gonna be a failure. Like, yo, imagine just being like working at McDonald's all your life and you have nothing going for yourself. Like, you really are gonna be a failure. Like, I didn't know what to do. And then I went back into, the partying and stuff like that, and I'll never forget. And this is where it leads up to it. We went on spring break. We went to me and my friend, my roommate. We went to because before that, I started going viral a little bit. I used to do the backflip catches with the football. So you would throw it, I would jump in the air, one hand backflip while I'm in the air, catch the ball and flip. And I went viral a couple of times for it. So I started to gain a little bit of traction on social media and on campus. And it was when we went to Florida. We went to Florida for spring break. And when we went to Florida, I remember we did the same thing on like a beach. And I went viral. Like it was the bar stool, the Clemson bar stool, the regular bar stool, and it was what was the other one? Was it overtime? It was some other big one. And I was just going viral over all the platforms. Instagram. I don't think TikTok was lit back. I wasn't on TikTok back then, I don't think, or focusing on it. But Instagram, even Facebook, what's the word? What's the word? Snapchat. Crazy. Because I remember coming back to campus and even the girls that was like not really rocking with me, I vividly remember this. The girls that wasn't really rocking with me, they would, rather choose the other dude, the one that was like all litty and party and more famous and stuff like that. They wasn't really rocking with me. I came back to campus. All of a sudden, those girls were all, lovey dovey, all buddy buddy, all up on me, wanted to hang around me and be around me. I'm like, okay. Then like the dudes, a lot of people, like everybody, all of the dudes, now they were all cool, buddy buddy with me. Everybody just wanted to be my friend. And I was in that season of like, yo, popularity. I was like, yo, I'm popular right now. That was the first time that ever happened to me. So I'm like, yo, I'm getting all this traction, all this attention. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm really popular. I used to do the Snapchat streaks. I had streaks after streak. Like that was my like a job to me essentially, right? I had so many streaks back then that I was always doing streaks, going back and forth with the streaks, 100, 200, 300 streaks. And this is where it all led up to the thing that changed my life. Cause we was towards the end of the semester, then it really started to hit. Cause when we went on spring break, that was like a couple of like a month or so before we actually got out of school. Never forget that that's the day. That's the day that everything hit me. Where I was in the car, late night. It was close to like 12 in the morning. I was sitting there, then it really all hit me. It was like, yo, we are getting close to the end of the year and your grades are not good. If you continue on this path, you're going to fail. Like you really don't have anything. Like everything is sitting in now. You won't be able to come back and party no more. You're not gonna be able to be here. And I was literally in just tears. I was really like so heartbroken. I was just in tears, like I was gonna be a failure. I was gonna have to go home and tell my, family, I didn't make it. And then, all the people in my family, they was just gonna clown me because I know my family. I know the type of people that my family are. I know who they are behind closed doors. I know what they show on the forefront, and I also know what they show. I know what the real is behind the closed doors. I know who they really are. And I was like, yo, I'm done. I'm done. Like my life is really over. It was never a point in time I wanted to take my life. So I was never suicidal. But I was really like at such a low point. That was the lowest point ever I have ever been in my entire 24 years on this earth. And I was just in tears, bro. Just so much in tears. And I'll never forget. It was a song that was playing. It was Polo G that I had. It was Rap Star. And it was one of the lyrics that he was saying in it. I gotta if I can't remember, but it was like the song, it was Rap Star by Polo G, and it was something that he said in that it just hit me so hard, and I just stopped. And back then I didn't have a relationship with God because I never grew up. Like when I was young, my great grandma, like she used to, cause I used to like live with her and stuff, so she used to always take me to church. So I was never in church at a age of understanding. So like 12, 13, 14, when I could actually really understand, I wasn't in church. So I never grew up in the church. So I knew of God. I never blasphemed God. I didn't like hate God. I just never had a relationship with God. I knew of God. I just never had a relationship with him. And remember, I was just in that car. I didn't have nobody else to cry to. So I just started crying out. It was like, yo, God, like, I know, like, you're real. I know you're there. I really don't know what I'm gonna do in my life. Never, I was in tears. And I said, like, I'm such a failure. I have no way out. I'm so afraid. I don't know what to do. Like, I genuinely really don't know what to do. I'm really gonna, like fail in life. And in that car, in that moment, God, He planted something in me. He made me remember trading. And what he did in that moment was he showed me two paths. He showed me he didn't show me where I would lead up to, but he showed me two paths. He showed me one path of if I continue to go down this path that I was already on, he showed me what my life would look like. And then he also showed me another path, and that's when trading. He showed me about trading, and he didn't tell me, like he didn't show me the actual vision, but he's told me it's like trading. And then I remember all the endless possibilities of what trading can do. And then I started to visualize what that life would look like. And in that exact moment, it was like 12 o'clock that night. It was around April 20th. It was April, like around April 20th. I'll never forget. I said, all right, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is gonna do. I have no idea how to do this. I'm just gonna take this leap. That same exact night, I went to my dorm. It's 12 o'clock. I got because I said, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail this. Because this is before I decided to drop out. I said, I'm not going to fail. So I went there. I spent an hour or two on my schoolwork. I got all my schoolwork done. I even got ahead on it. I said, I'm going to get this done. I got it done. And then for the rest of the entire night, from like 2 or 3 in the morning to like 9 in the morning, I just studied trading to the point where my roommate, because his girlfriend was wife now, his fiance at the time, But he used to stay with her majority of the time, and he would like come back at like super late at night, and to the point where he came and left, and I was still in that same spot. I was studying. He came at like 12 in the morning, 2 in the morning, still studying, still studying. He came down, he slept, he went to sleep, got up at like 5, 6 in the morning and left. And I was still in that same spot. He was like, "Yo, you've been up all night?" I said, "Yes." And I was just studying trading. I had all my notes, this notebook. I was just studying, taking notes. Because I remember that exact day because I had math class that day. And I had math class at like 9:30, 10. I walked in class and I literally was like I fell asleep. I sat and it was the back left of the class. So I sat all the way in the back and I'm sitting there, I'm like falling asleep, teacher talking. I could not stay up. And I I left from class and then I went to Chipotle, not Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, because I used to go to Chick-fil-A all the time. I went to Chick-fil-A, got my food, and then I went back to my dorm and started studying trading. And I kept on doing that every day. Did my schoolwork, trading. I stopped going out to parties. I stopped doing my streaks. I stopped all of that. I remember it got to the point where, like, on a Friday or Saturday, I was just so tired from studying all the time. And my roommate, I would be on the couch laying down. My roommate was like, "Yo, Sarah, I'm about to go out to this party. I'm about to go out to." They used to call them, yeah, they used to call them darties. They used to call them darties. A darty like a day party. I don't know, man. He was like, "Yeah, I'm about to go out to this darty, this party, whatever you want to call it. Let's go." I said, "Nah, man, I'm good." He's like, "Yo, come on, man, stop being lame, man. Let's go. Like, you're not going out no more. Let's go." I said, "Nah, man, I'm good." And I remember getting to the point where I was like, "Yo, I could literally see myself. All I could see myself doing was trading. I didn't see any future. Like, I literally could not visualize any future at all in my life whatsoever with engineering and me staying at that school. Because at first I was like, yo, after maybe my junior year, I would drop out and do this trading stuff. And then it said, what's the point? And I'll never forget, it was a point like where I told like, yeah, my roommate, yeah, like I'm like, because they were talking about getting like rooms and stuff together next year. I said, yeah, I'm not gonna be here next year. Like I'm gonna drop out. And it was like, yeah, for what? I'm gonna do this trading stuff. And I'll never forget one of them laughed at me. He's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll see you next year. He thought I was joking. He's like, yeah, I'll see you next year. He really thought I was joking. And it's all right, cool. And I remember telling my mom, I said, yo, mom, like, I'm dropping out. And she was just heartbroken, bro. Like she was just heartbroken. She was in tears because I was just so random to her. That wasn't like a uh building up to it. I was like, Mom, I'm dropping out. I'm gonna drop out, go all in. I'm gonna study this trading stuff. I'm gonna figure it out with trading. Just this isn't for me. And she didn't support me dropping out of college, but she did support the decision of me coming down this like choosing this path. She didn't understand it. She would have preferred if I would have tried to learn how to trade while still being in college, and I understand that. I respect that. She never disowned me for it though. My mom never disowned me and never like kicked me out or anything and didn't allow me to come back and stay with them. My mom, she didn't support it, but she supported me. And what I did, she was like, okay, all right, if that's what you're gonna do, cool. My dad didn't want me to go to college anyway. He wanted me to do like a trade thing and become like a technician or whatever that thing is. Like go to like a trade school. So my dad didn't care. He didn't want me to go to college anyway. My mom, when she supported that, I said like, yo, I'm doing this. Like you can, I'm not asking you, can I do this? I'm not asking you for your permission. I'm letting you know, and respectfully, I'm letting you know, and I'm just asking for your support. I'm asking like, will you support me with this? Yes or no? And she said, I don't support that you're dropping out, but I will support what you're doing. You're my son. Like I'm never gonna disown you. Whatever decision that God has for you, cool. And this is where it leads up to that isolation. Because as soon as I'm actually fully committed to that and made that decision, I kid you not, it was like a switch. I came home that exact same week. Remember, this was same the time I was still famous and popular on campus during that time. Everybody knew me, everybody was hitting me up. Never forget that same exact week. It's like my phone got erased. No notifications. Nobody was hitting me up. It was to the point where like a lot of friends that I had back then, they were hitting me up saying, "Yo, like Sierra X1Z Clemson." I said, "Yeah, I'm dropping out." One of them called me stupid. He said, "Yo, you got to go to Clemson because if you don't, I won't have." I'll never forget when he said this. I'm not that same exact time we got off the phone. I blocked his number. He said, "You got to go to Clemson so I can tell people I know somebody that I have a friend that goes to Clemson." I got off the phone. I blocked him, and I said, "All right, cool." And this was during the time, this is when the delivery driving journey started because this was God led everything. He aligned everything up. At that time, before I went to college, I used to work at Foot Locker for a little bit. When I came back home, I said, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to Foot Locker. I'm gonna work at Foot Locker. I'm gonna use the funds that I'm getting from Foot Locker to fund into my trading account, which weren't barely anything. I was getting like $100, $200 every 2 weeks at Foot Locker. If you got like you trade, so you understand $200 every 2 weeks. Kristen, you delivery job. $200 every 2 weeks. You can make that in a day. You can make that in 2 days delivery jobbing. Really. Because I used to do that. I used to make like $200 a day delivery jobbing. And I went back and I tried to apply because they said we'll keep you in a seasonal, and then they said it ended up terminating me from the system. So when I went there the first time, I tried to do the application, it didn't go through. The second time I tried it, it didn't go through. The third time I actually went up there and actually did it on their computer, it didn't go through. I was like, yo, this is a sign. Forget this. I'm not doing this no more. Because that environment was not there. I wasn't supposed to be in that environment. That was not an environment that I needed to be in. I needed to be in the space where I could lock in and hone in. If I would have worked that Foot Locker, I would have never been able to reach this level that I'm at. So I said, all right, cool. I'm a delivery drive. I started delivery driving. At first, I started delivery driving in my city, and then I had so much that like that anxiety. When I talk, that's why I'm so big on speaking about anxiety and overcoming it, because the amount of anxiety and fear that I had was absolutely insane. The stages that I went through to the point back then, I used to delivery drive back in my city, and I was so embarrassed for dropping out of college and saying that I'm a trader because I used to post like, I'm trading, like I'm gonna make it out with this trading thing. Posting my backs testing and stuff, and I felt so embarrassed that I had to come back home delivery driving my city, and it was to the point where I stopped delivery driving in my city. Two reasons. One of them, the biggest thing was that like anxiety. Then the second thing was I wasn't making that much money in my city. So I used to drive all the way to Columbia, which was like 30, 35 minutes, roughly 40 minutes every single day to go delivery job. I remember, never forget, I would always fill up in the morning before I go, and I would drive to Columbia. I'll put like a full tank of gas in. Back then, like, because I used to have a Benz, and back then it was like $45, $50 to fill up my gas tank every day. Because I was making $200 every day. So $50, 200, the ratio, it's there. So I used to fill it up, go delivery drive every day, and come back. And I remember when I was in my city at one point in time, because back to where I was going, like nobody hit me up. When I was going through this isolation season, not a single person was hitting me up. There was like one or two like cool friends that I had back then. Like even now, still to this day, they're all doing their own thing. One of them is a videographer. The other one, he makes music, and it's still all love. We haven't talked in a while, but those are still love. I know they always supported me since the beginning. So I'll always show love and support them, even though we don't talk every day. Those are still those day ones that was there with me since the beginning and supported me in everything since the beginning. Always show love. But those are like the only ones. I couldn't talk to my parents because they didn't understand the things I was going through, the spiritual warfare. I ain't had no friends to talk to, so the only person I could talk to was God. And during that isolation season, this was when I deleted all my social medias. I completely went ghost. I stopped playing video games. I used to be a video game addict. I stopped playing video games. I stopped watching TV. I had no social medias on my phone. Every single day, all I did was read, all I did was trade, and all I did was delivery drive. This was before the season of me getting into calisthenics. This was that year before I got into calisthenics. So I got into calisthenics a year later in April again. So at that April, something about that April. But I got into calisthenics a year later. But during that first year, this is when my body took the biggest toll. I was getting 1 to 2 hours of sleep. I would literally, what my day looked like, I would start going to delivery drive at around 10. I would leave at like 9:30, 10ish in the morning. So I get there that lunch shift, and I would be there from like 11 to 8, like 11 to like 7, 7 to 8 p.m. Then I would come back home and I would literally maybe grab something to eat. And then this was also before, like I said, I started taking my health serious. So I used to eat out. So I would grab something to eat out there, like a Chick-fil-A or something. And then I would come home. I would literally go to sleep for like an hour and some change. I would come home and do a little bit of studying because I was studying as I was delivery driving as well. I used to always have my computer and my notes. So as I was delivery driving, I was studying. And I would come home at like 8, shower, everything. And I think from like 9 or like 10 or 11, it was like anywhere from 8 to 10-ish. I would go to sleep and I would wake up at 12 o'clock every single day. I wake up at 12 o'clock, and this was like when I say I used to go out to the park. I would tell my peoples that I was going to go work out, but I just went to this park that was in my city at like 12 o'clock in the morning, and I would just sit there for like 1 or 2 hours and just talk to God. Just literally sit on the hood of the car and just talk to God for hours. And during that like silence, that period, he was revealing to me everything. He was revealing to me people's true colors because I was like, yo, why are how is it like I'm doing this? I know this is like I'm leading into your what you want me to do, Lord, but why does it look like this? Like everybody's, nobody's hitting me up, nobody's cool with me, X, Y, and Z. I was like, I was lost. I was like, why is this happening to me, Lord? And I used to always cry out to him, talk to him, pray. And during that time, he used to always show me things. He used to show me the people, why he took those out people out of my life, because he would show me their real colors. He was like, yo, remember when this person did this? Remember when this person did this? When you made it into here and this person did this, when you used to make these big accomplishments and these awards, these so-called friends, they downplayed you and laughed at you. These people that turned their back against you in 2 seconds and then right then again, because you're such a lovey-dovey person, like such a caring person, you took them right back in and let them keep on hurting you. You was such a yes man, you was never a no man. This is what they did. And he used to reveal all that to me. And then I would come back and I would just study. I would just study all night from like 2 in the morning to when I until I went to go delivery job. I didn't sleep. Oh, boom. 2 in the morning, study, back test, study, back test, read, study, back test, read, study, back test, read. And I was my entire cycle. I did that for like a year straight, every single day. And during that season, that was when that shift happened in my life. Because I started reading the Bible heavy. At first, I didn't know. If I didn't read the Bible, I would have never understood anything. I read the Bible front to back during that season. And when I read it, I started to see everything that I was going through. The Bible talked about it. I said, oh, okay. I get it. I get it now. And then during that season, that's when I became the person that, I've transformed into. That's when I became that new man. I literally, God, like, he rebuilt me from the ground up. I spent all that time reading my Bible, studying, trading, studying, trading, studying, trading. I was so like I didn't know about social media because during that time I did not want to be on social media. I had trading in my life. Locked in, studying, honed in on trading. I knew what was possible with trading. I didn't care about social media. That's why I deleted it all. I never wanted to post on social media. I never wanted anybody to know that I was trading or know how much money I was. I never cared about that. I didn't want that at all. I wanted to just go crazy trading and just go ghost. And then a year later, that's when God started to show me that, yeah, you logging on this, but you're not fully, you reading the scriptures, but you're not fully applying the scriptures because the scriptures clearly tell you that the body is the temple, that you should be taking care of your body. Psh, I just read, that scripture, those scriptures went over my head. So many scriptures that talks about it. Those scriptures went over my head because I wasn't sleeping. I was barely getting any sleep. I was not taking care of my health. I remember I used to eat Takis all the time back then. I was just eating unhealthy and I wasn't taking care of myself mentally, spiritually. Like spiritually, I was, but I wasn't like taking care of myself. And that's when that day came when I looked in the mirror and saw my body and saw my health. And I said, I'll never do this again. I'll never let myself go. And that's when I got into calisthenics. And calisthenics changed me because it allowed me to push myself and grow. Because remember, back then I was still struggling so much heavy with anxiety. And I had to do something productive. And calisthenics was that thing for me. So I used to always go do handstands, challenge myself, push myself. And then that's when I started, I got to get over this anxiety. So I used the calisthenics as an opportunity to overcome it. I would record myself, my trainings. I still was going to the gym at 12 in the morning. And then it, kept on going more and more and more. I'm like, okay, cool. I got to get an actual gym membership if I really want to overcome this. And I got a bigger gym membership. I used to go and I used to start recording and recording and recording and recording. Then I just started picking up the camera and started recording myself speaking. And I say, what's the point of having all this if I'm just gonna keep it here? So I just decided to just post a couple of my clips. Just post a couple of clips of me, fitness, my handstands and stuff, and started to gain traction. Like during that first time, I used to get like thousands, like 1,000+ views every single video that I did. And I was like, I never wanted this attention. And then people started saying, yo, you're an inspiration, X, Y, and Z. I said, okay. Still didn't want that attention. I really care for it. And then it got to the point where um, I started sharing my trading and everything. And then it got to the point where I was a part of the business with Chris. And that's what led to the business like side of things. So that whole thing, it led up to that, like to me getting into there, to my relationship with God. But what led up to where I'm at right now, speaking on this camera, was when I was a part of the other business. And I used to do the trade talks. And I never wanted to. Christian, you was there, bro. I never wanted to do that. That was not a part of my job. Like my description was just to be a community manager. I was just supposed to manage the community, make sure everything was good, and reply back to people, post the videos, do the stuff that I was told to do. Right. That's what my job was. Doing those trade talks was not a part of my job. I just decided to do that because I'm like, all right, cool. All the calls, like people love the calls. I'm like, yo, we all trade, and we was all getting closer and closer. Just like it was more than just me being a community manager. I was like actually getting closer to you guys and actually really having conversations and not just being robotic. Like we were actually, because I traded as well. I wasn't just a community manager, so I understood a lot of the things that people were going through. And we used to always have dope conversations and stuff. And I said, yo, let's get on the like let's start doing some calls, all right? Like, but in between the other calls, I do my own calls. It wasn't a because we had the other mentors that they were the actual trade. I wasn't classified as a mentor back then, so I was just a community manager. So I was like, cool, let's just have a community style thing where we just get on a group of traders and we just talk it up. It's like nobody's trying to teach anything, and we just kept on doing that. It was just everybody. Then it got to the point where I had my own individual trade talks that people actually were telling me like, yo, the only reason why I bought this platform is to be a part of your trade talks. If you're not doing trade talks no more, I don't want to be here no more. I was like, damn. I was like, bro, I'm just. And then everybody was like, yo, Seer, you doing the trade talk? Yo, Seer, trade talk, trade talk, trade talk. It was the recording? Like, yo, trade talk. It got to the point where trade talk became such this big thing. And it was so many people. It's like God used that for a reason. He gave me that opportunity there to show me what's to potentially come, right? And because back then it was the platform Chris is like very huge, so it was hundreds of people. I'm starting out the gate with hundreds of people like that are just here. Like it wasn't, no, it was hundreds of people. So he was planting the seed there, but it was the fact that how easy it was for me. I was able to just, it didn't matter how many people were there. I was able to flow and just be myself and just talk normal in front of all these people. And that's when it got to the point where I was no longer a part of the business. And during that season, I said, all right, no longer a part of this. I'm about to just hone in and just lock in on trading. Just trading. And then during that season, I was like, I'm gonna go some social media. I'm gonna just lock in. And it was like a 2 month period, right? I'll never forget. They started up the new business and they said, yo, Sir was start. That was with the prop firm. They were starting up the new business, and they said, yo, Sir, like, do you want to be a part of this? Like, we're starting this. You could be the community manager in here. I knew the pay would have been good. I knew I'd have been taken care of good. I knew all the incentives. There would have been so many great things that would have came from it. I knew it. But I also remember that promise that I made to myself before. It was literally like a day or two. It was very, very shortly before that opportunity came. I said, yo, I'm not doing this no more. I know the value that I have and the things that I can do. If I do ever do anything, it'll be on my own. If I do ever start a business, and this was in my mind was like, yo, when I reach 7 figures, 6 figures plus, I'm living this lifestyle, X, Y, and Z, then I'll start my own business. So if I do start it years later from now, then I will actually, I'm doing my own thing. I'm not gonna be a part of another thing. No, I'm gonna do my own thing. And that's what I told myself. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not gonna be a part of that. I'm not going for it. Because I also knew a lot of things that was happening, and I said, no, I'm not. That's just not, you know, for me. And I said, all right, cool. I said, I'm not gonna make that. And this, remember, this was like 2, 3 months of me being ghost. It wasn't like I just decided. I was already 2, 3 months deep of being ghost. I have not made a single post on Instagram. I got that offer, and I said no. I stood firm on that. I had that trust. I knew it would have been good, but I said I'm not going through that again. I said no. I would rather hone in and just do my own thing, focus on my trading, and just do this. I said, all right, I respect that. Good luck. Kid you not. I want to say a day, that same week, my guy, L, I can't, I think I'm forgetting how to pronounce it, but my guy, he hit me up on Instagram. Just random text, bro. Yo, Siri, do you do mentorships? Like, yo, Siri, I need a mentor. Like, yo, do you offer mentorships? And I said, I mean, depend. Like, what do you need help with? He was like, I just need that accountability. I need that push. I need, a little bit of help. It's like my entries, small things. I'm like, yo, I can easily do that. That's easy money. So I said, all right, cool. Let's hop on let's do like a consultation call. So all right, cool. Even though I didn't want to do it, even that wasn't my plan. I was all right, cool. Why not? We did it. We hopped on it. X, Y, and Z. He was like, yo, how much? He said, just give me the number. He said, just give me the number. So how much? I gave him the number. And he said, all right, cool. I'm gonna send you how you want me to send it. And in my mind, cause I just gave the number, I'm like, yo, okay, here's the number. And he said, all right, cool. Cause I was just gonna say the number, and if he said, cool, work it, I would have, adjusted it. I think I think it was like 500 to 600. And he said, all right, cool. How you want me to send it? And he sent it. And kid you not, after I said, all right, cool, a couple of days later, somebody else hit me up. Yo, Sir, do you do one-on-one? I'm like, yo, where are these people coming from? And then it was like, he was like, yo, God made me remember all those people that was in your trade talk, and they said, yo, Sir, when you start your own thing, let me know, hit me up. And I was like, all right, I'll hit them up. And I hit them up, and those people was like, yo, Sir, I was just waiting for you to start it. I was like, really, I'm glad that you hit me up. I thought you wasn't gonna do it. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna do it. And I said, all right, cool. I started doing that. Then that's when the one-on-one part and the community part came along. And then all those people they joined, and every last one of those people had some type of impact. That was just a blessing. God sent me a small pool of people, but it wasn't like none of those people were just there just to be there. Every last one of those people actually wanted to change. Oh, he had a kid on the way. It was like no, like 6 months into his kid came, and he was like really locked in. We locked in, and now he's good. Danny hated her job. She was blowing accounts, and now she's making 5 figure plus from her prop firm. Now she's even trading futures now. I don't know if she's still, because she ended up quitting that job and getting something else better that she liked. I don't know if she's still at that new job now. She's just doing full-time trading. It was what's his name? It was another one where he made 6 figures from a prop firm. And I started to see that, yo, like, you are really making an impact on people's life. And that's what really changed everything to me. And that's where it got me to the point where I'm at now. It was that one. It was a bunch of decisions, but when it came to the business, it was that one no that turned into potentially 1,000 yeses. And that's where I'm at now. And I know that with disobedient, like my business is going to flourish. It doesn't matter, how many people is in it now. God already showed me the vision. God already showed me the vision of me having my own thing with thousands of people, a whole bunch of, mentorships and stuff. And then the more repetition I did it, because at first it was just trading. At first those people were just coming to me for trading. And then, somebody ended up coming to me for fitness because a lot of people's like, yo, like, are you a coach? Do you train people? I kept on saying no. Like, seriously, people was asking, yo, seriously. I was like, no, I just do this by myself. And then somebody actually came to me and say, yo, it was this, like I tell you guys, you always get the most support from random people. It was a dude on TikTok, random dude on TikTok who used to follow me and stuff. It's not like he knew me in real life and stuff. A random dude on TikTok. He said, yo, like, do you do mentorship? Like, I really want you to be our mentor. And I didn't think he was being serious. And I was like, yeah, we like, cool, we can hop on a call. And he said, all right, cool. How much it is? It was like that one we did, it was a 3 month thing. And I gave him the price. He said, all right, cool. How you want me to send it? I'm like, yo, what? Because the reason why I was so shocked, it was because back then I was basing my value off of my followers, off of me being known. Because I didn't have 100K followers and X, Y, and Z and all of this stuff. I was basing my value based off of that. So when I would set these numbers and people would say, okay, I'm like, what? And he ended up learning how to do a full handstand in like less than 2 weeks. Now he's doing his thing. And then I was like, okay, cool. So wait, it's not just trading because people will also come to me. And even with Danny, it was trading, but with her, it was more her mindset. She already had a trading system, but her, it was more her mindset. A bunch of other people, it was their mindset. It was trading, then it was fitness, then it was their relationship with God. And I said, yo, you are not just a trading, you don't just trade. Cause then I told myself, I'm like, yo, I don't just trade. I do more than just trade. Calisthenics. I love taking care of my health. And all of these things are valuable or premium skills. I know how to take care of my health and I love taking care of my health. My relationship with God, I love God. I know a lot about the Bible. I know a lot about spiritual warfare. I have a lot of wisdom. Trading, of course, personal development, bettering yourself, I overcoming all the spiritual warfare's anxiety. I know how to do this. And then I said, okay, stop just coming off as you just do trading. Why not get into systems? Like learn how to build like set. And I was like, yo, all our life is all built off a system. So I started diving heavy into like even now where I'm at now, I love learning about systems. I love creating systems, breaking systems, like dissecting systems to see how they work. And that's where it led up to the point where right now it's no longer just a trading mentor, it's a systems coach. And now look at how God works because now that opens up so much more room for him to work through me. Because if I just said, yo, I'm a trader and I was just leaning into my own understanding of trading, then that's blocking the blessings of God using me to help a whole because anybody, I can build a system for anybody, and no matter what you do, I can help you and guide you, gain clarity, and get an actual repeatable system. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be business, it could be health, it could be whatever it is. Because the way that I do it, it forces you to actually come up with the answer yourself. It forces you to build the system. The clarity stages, it forces you to actually, oh, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. Oh, okay. If I remove this, remove that, boom, 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 boom. This, I need to do this. Boom. Now you got that system. And this is where, I'm at now. All of this started back then. Somebody who wanted a mechanical engineer to a systems coach. That is the entire journey that led up to this exact point. I wanted to share that a lot of people see me where I'm at now, but don't understand what it took to get here, the sacrifices that it took to get here, everything that it took that led up to this, the trials, the tribulations. and not giving up, even though I fell short a lot of times along the way. I just did not give up, and I'm not going to give up. And when you do it for so long, now it's the faith and trust that I have in God is just I can't go back to who I was before. I cannot not acknowledge God because God has done so much in my life and has shown so much in my life to the I can never not acknowledge him. And that is the testimony. That is the complete breakdown. And if we look at USD JPY, looking absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna trade management accordingly. Stop loss is gonna go below here. Still look at the flow up into the 1 hour, 1 hour resistance range. Beautiful. Currently up a 3R multiple at this point in time. Therefore, no reality would I give back all of this. I'm up a 3R multiple. I'm going to move my stop loss below this candle, which would be a 2R multiple. Because I'm up at 3R, looking to gain a potentially 6R on this. So I'm willing to give back 1R multiple to gain an extra 3R. But potentially, that is 110% worth the risk to award. And if price stops me out, it'll just stop me out. Well, it wouldn't stop me out because I didn't move my stop loss into profit, but I'm moving my stop loss into profit now. And also throughout that season, throughout that entire time, because remember I said years of studying and studying and studying. That's how I got to this point. Because I remember RC asked me yesterday, "Is like, how did you get to the point with the confidence?" Me explaining that right there, it shows you how. I was spending hours and hours and hours and hours every single day studying and back testing. I put in so many hours. I put in so many. I've taken so many trades. It wasn't like it happened overnight. None of it happened. It all leads up to something. It all is a accumulation of things. It was the accumulation of throwing up, accumulation of studying, and during that time, as well too, like when I decided to like stop being a part of the business and do my own thing, like that season that I was like isolated, that's when I really like honed in and started building out my system. Like I really like truly honed in and started solidifying it. That's why I solidified my support resistance, my market structure. Candlesticks were already easy, but my entries and all that, I would just every single day. That's all I just only study support resistance. I only study each one thing one at a time. And the biggest thing that I did is every season, what I did, I removed more. That's the biggest thing. Every season, I don't carry over some things that I carry over, but a lot of things that I realize that I don't need to carry over, I just remove it. Because if it's not gonna benefit me, then I just remove it. And that is how I got to this simplicity point, being real as well. Is remember how I showed you guys my let me see something. I actually want to see something. Do I even have this app on my computer? I want to see something. See if it's up here. Oh, no way. None of my notes? Oh, no, here it is. I was about to say. I was about to say. Let me see. Damn. Yo, I got so many notes. Let me see. I want to see if I can pull up. Probably should stop me out in profit. Wow. Wow. Look at this. Check this out. This was my daily schedule. This was 2021, December 28th. This I remember writing this out. 9 a.m. This was my exact 9 a.m. every day. Get up, pray and stretch, brush teeth and cook breakfast, track calories. Back then I used to track calories. While eating breakfast, watch news related videos or read articles to get more familiar with the fundamentals. Read the Bible around 11 to 1, look for opportunities to go dash. Come home around 2 to 3 and make a healthy lunch. Read or sleep until the night dash. Finish around 9 to 10. Go to the gym and work out. Come home and make a protein shake. Cook dinner. Take a shower. Analyze cryptos at 1 a.m. every day for potential investments. Read a book for about 30 minutes to whenever. Sleep and relax. This is the schedule back then, man. I actually wrote it out 2021. Let me see if I can find some more. Wow. Where is it at? Oh man, 1 second. I used to always write these little quotes down too, right? If you are a part of the problem, you have the ability to come up with a solution. It's these things right here. It's those nights, those Saturday nights where people used to go out and party. Saturday night, back test goal for the week and make analysis and read, watch articles, work out at the gym, abs, handstands, cardio, cook meals for the day, read Bible, meditate, read trading in the zone. It's those sacrifices. Trying to see if I can find one of my actual trading plans. Bro, I'm telling you, like I said beforehand, this is in 2022. That's why I keep saying this now, because I've seen it for 4 or 5 years. If gold breaks an area, is going to continue in that direction with retesting, without retesting. That's supposed to say without retesting more times than not. I've known this since back in 2022. Same exact thing, man. 2022. It's the same thing, it's just simplified. Simple strategy. When price is nearing a 4 hour support resistance, scale down to the 1 hour to see if price is giving you a rejection candle or is breaking above with full force, and scale down to the 15 minute for bullish pattern entering. When price is near 1 hour support, scale down to the 50 minute to see the rejection, then scale down to the 5 minute for the entry. It's the same. I trade the same way, it's just more um in tuned. Well, I want to see if I can find. I don't think I have one of my trading journals because these is getting more into 2022. Let me see if I can find one. You read that book too? I love that. That book was actually really good. Man, I cannot find the trader journal. It is what it is. It is what it is. But that's like some of the notes that I have in there. I just wanted to share that. But that's what it takes. Is all of that leading up to it. Hey brother, yeah, that journey is. And that's where we're at now. As you can see, price came down. Imagine price came down, stop you on the profit, and now it broke back below. So now, once again, that is it. This the buys to that next level is invalid. So if price were to go, then gonna go short, break. If price pulls back up into this area, holds this resistance, price could potentially come back down into the 1 hour zone. That is it. That is it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that story time. I wanted to share that not for me and credibility for me, but to show you guys how amazing God is and to show you the what your life would be like when you just trust in God and put your faith in God. That's all I did. My entire life was just this entire journey was just trusting in God. From dropping out of college, every decision that I made was an unknown. Like I didn't know what to do. Dropping out of college, there was an unknown. I barely was studying trading at that time. I was studying trading for like 2, 3 weeks. It's not like I had years worth of experience, months worth of experience. The unknown. Cool, I'm gonna do this. When I decided to quit Foot Locker and start delivery driving, the unknown. When I just started to just take the leap and be a part of, even ask for an opportunity to be a part of that business. Because I would have never did it if I would never take that leap and say, yo, like, let me actually reach out. Let me actually reach out and, say something. And he gave me an opportunity. And that opportunity led to the next thing. I would have never had the business if I would have never said, all right, cool, I'm gonna just trust in God and just let me just start it. And now it's here. Understand that the value that you have and use your gift. And another big thing that I would say is don't devalue your gift for where you're currently at. Joseph was the least. Joseph was in prison. Joseph was least, but he became super wealthy. He was the least, but he had a premium skill. He had that prophecy. Joseph didn't have all the money and X, Y, Z. He was in prison, but he had that prophecy. He had that skill to tell the dreams. And regardless of how much money he had, Pharaoh, which was the king, believed him. And when he interpreted that, Joseph became a very wealthy man and took care of his people. And reading that stuff, it truly it helps out a lot. And that's what I had to go through that with my business as well. I used to undervalue my business so much. I would set it at prices because of where I thought I was at, and not prices for the value of it. And like even like you guys see this, like even throughout this journey, like what I have it at now is nowhere near what the value of it is. Well, the new platform, what I actually raised the price to, it's worth it. And my one-on-ones is worth it. But it's like this isn't a $50 like platform. The value is way higher than this. This is 3 figures, even 4 figures type of a platform. And I understand that value. And when you understand that, you set the price and people will either respect it or not respect it. That's perfectly cool. But it doesn't matter what level that you're at. Never undermine yourself because you never know what could happen. Because I was talking to this guy at the park the other day. He asked me for some advice. He was like, yo, mentorships and X, Y, and Z. He was like, yo, with the product, because I'm not like big and everything yet, I would, what if I sell a bunch of low cost things like $5, let's say like $10, right? $10. I said, all right, cool. If you sold something for $10,000, not $10,000, if you sold something for $10, you would need 300 clients. You would need to sell that to 300 people or 300 times in order to get $3,000, right? That's 300 people. Versus if you had $1,000 product, you would only need to sell that three times to get to 3,000. You would only need three. 300 versus three. Out of 300 people that are willing to buy a product, one person, potentially one person out of that 300 will buy that $1,000 product. When that started to really click to me, I it builds confidence, right? It built confidence in me as well because I know the value, and this is for you guys as well too. If you guys ever start your own business, if you guys ever do your own thing, whatever it is you want to do not undervalue yourself. If you have a premium skill, if you have a skill that will change somebody, that will actually really impact somebody's life, it doesn't matter. If you have a skill fitness wise, if you love and have a passion for taking care of your health, that is a skill because most people don't do that. If you can explain things and break things down, that is a skill because most people can't understand. If you can see things that others can't see, if you can understand a person better than they can basically understand themselves, that is a skill. Trading is a skill. If you can teach people how to trade and make money, financial freedom, that is a skill. Teaching people how to get closer to God, that is a skill. When you have a premium skill, you can charge premium prices for that skill. Because the word says, don't cast your pearls into swine. And I've observed that, even like not within in the business a little bit, my business and a little bit, but the other businesses as well. It's when you charge something that's like when you're giving $10,000 worth of value and you charge 1% of that, you're charging $50 for it. People don't take it as serious, and they expect what's the word? What's that word? Not a what's the word? What's the word? What's that word? I want to get the word. Entitlement. They have that entitlement. You're paying $50 for something that's worth $10,000, and what happens, and I've seen that as well, especially with Chris, within his platform, because he's always been, helping out those, and he would set the lower price tickets, and he didn't have a low price. He does not have a low price skill. He has premium skills, trading, business, like he has premium skills, and people would have treated him, not everybody, but there are a lot of people that would treat him as if he was a mediocre because of the price that he was set. A lot of people would treat that in a way to not understand truly the value that you get from even doing, let's say one-on-one call, because I did one-on-one call with him and that allowed me to get to the business with it. I think back then he was doing the one-on-ones for 2,000 or something like that, 1,700 or whatever it is. He was doing his one-on-ones for like 2,000 or 3,000. I don't remember what it was. It was just a one-on-one call, 60-minute one-on-one call. I decided to invest in it, and that led to me getting to the point where I had an opportunity to be a part of the team. I invested, I took the leap, and that changed my entire life. Now I have my own business and led up to, giving me the opportunities to, be a part of that. You got to take those leaps. And when I truly like really hit me, it makes things a lot different. And that's why I'm a lot more confident in my business. I'm a lot more confident in what I do now. That's why I don't cast my pearls into swine no more. When people come to me and it's like it's really big more emphasis in person wise. On the internet, like it's very simple, but in person wise, because you're in person, a lot of people could try to take advantage of you and try to suck you dry as much as they possibly can. And now it's becoming a lot more aware of that. I discern a person's spirit when I touch their spirit. It's like, is this person really just trying to drain me and waste my time and I'm just gonna cast my pearls in the swine and they're not gonna do nothing with it? Or does this person really want to make an impact? And that's how I know what to do. I don't just everybody that comes to me, yeah. Be a part of my mentorship. Absolutely not. Because most people they have a scarcity mindset. So then they look at things as prices, like as not investments. And that, even if they don't come to the mentorship, a lot of people, I wouldn't even say, yeah, come to the course, which is not as much as the mentorship, but you got to discern the spirits. Like, I'll just be casting my pearl in the swine. A lot of people would try to suck you dry for as much free information, free knowledge as they can get. And it's always good to give wisdom, but you got to use discernment. Are you casting your pearls in the swine? That's what I started to really observe. A lot of people would just come up to me and I'm like, yo, this person is really just wasting my time. And it's not the person, it's the spirit that sent them. But this person is just meant to come drain my energy. And I would observe that a lot with training. I would have all the energy, and then the person would come up and try to just drain me of my energy, and then boom, it's like, yo, you didn't spend 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes talking to me. Now it's like my workout's over now at this point. I don't even want to work out no more. And that same person didn't take what I said for, serious. And a lot of people take advantage of you. Don't ever let anybody take advantage of you. Know your worth, know your value. And that's the, biggest things that I've learned so far. And as I'm still growing now along this journey, and it's beautiful to learn that now than to not have known it at all, and to go through the experiences of undervalue myself, and also knowing that with it is now, I set the value that it is. My one-on-one mentorships, I charge the premium price that I do because I know, I guarantee you that it's like, you're not just gonna leave here with just something random. I know the work that I put in every single day for my clients, and I know the things that I'm doing are actually gonna work. For example, with Keisha, the one, like, she's one of them that I'm working with right now. We're building out her trading system, a trading system that when this is complete, you are going to have a system that if you follow it, you're going to be making however much you want. 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures. You will be set for the rest of your life. You no longer have to work your job anymore. You can trade, and because she wants to do other things like music, and well, you can invest that money into here, all of that. And just by making this investment, now you have a life of freedom. You can charge, if I wanted to charge $100,000, that is worth that price, to know that you can have the rest of your life. You no longer have to be a slave to the system. That is worth it. People will pay that. People will pay to get that time back, and I realize that, and that's why I don't, because I'm confident and I know what I do. And you got to actually get reps in, because I've worked with so many people. I've done it myself. I've done it within others, and I know that the flow that I do, the way that I build systems, it works for every single system, and I know how I do it, it works. So that's why I charge what I charge. And that's why even within the new platform, that's why the prices, like how they are now, the prices was when I was undervaluing myself. The prices are not that no more. I don't undervalue myself, and I don't undervalue the what's the word, the value that I give now. So now the new platform is what I have it set to. And you guys do the same thing. I don't need to have 1,000. I don't need it, because think about it. I could have 3,000 followers and have a premium price thing. And with that premium price thing, somebody could have 100K followers, and the one that's 3,000 followers would have more income. Because just because your followers, your value does not come from your followers. You can have 300 followers and not providing no value. You're just giving entertainment. And you have 300 followers, like I said, you selling, you keep giving away your value. That's value, that could be a value of 6 figures. You're giving it away for $10, $20, $30. And that's 300 people versus one or two or three people that would invest in that. And that's what I would rather, because I understand my audience now as well too, and understand your audience. Who are the people that you, if you're making like a business, if you're making content, understand who are you speaking to. I'm not speaking to everybody. My business is not for everybody. My content is not for everybody. I'm not speaking to those entertainment seekers. I'm not speaking to those people that just want entertainment, be of the world. I'm speaking to people that actually really want to change, that actually really want to take this life that we've been blessed with serious, and actually really become better, and not band-aid, like people that actually want to heal and not just put a band-aid on it. And when you know that, because I would invest, if I, obviously I do it, but if there was somebody, if I knew of somebody, especially back then when I first started, or whatever level, especially with the social anxiety, I had to figure that out from like actually on my, I had to build the systems to figure that out on my own. If I had the opportunity, if I knew there was like a me and whatever price that he charged, yo, let me go delivery drive. I'm coming. Let me go delivery drive. Let me stack up this bread. I will invest in this. It's like if I had the money here, it doesn't matter how much it was. If I had the money here, because I know that this investment would change my life for the rest of my life here. Because if I invested in that here, I guarantee you my social media would be completely different right now. That social anxiety would have been going a lot faster. It took me years building up to this point. This is 2026. And I just started doing like the storytelling cinematic stuff. It took me years from 2022, 4 years to build up to this point, to where I'm at now with content. The point where I'm at now where I can speak freely for almost 2 hours and just flow and just share my testimony. If I had a mentor like how I am now back then, I would have achieved that in less than half the time. And my following would be completely different. My business would have been completely different. Everything would have been completely different. Because I know that I would have invested in it. And I know I'm the audience I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to like my audience. So I know if would invest into it, others would do the same thing as well. So that's why I take just set the price, whatever it is, set that premium price, and people would pay for it, regardless if that's something that you want to do. And if that's not, if you don't want to do anything like content business wise, do that with trading it. Because if you just want to be a trader, do that with trading. Don't undervalue yourself and understand the skill that you have and what you have. Don't let people try to downplay you, or let people try to use you. Don't cast your pearls into swine. Understand that you have a premium skill, and understand that as well. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You have a premium skill. You could not be making any money right now in the charts. You could be making $100, you can make it $50. You still have a premium skill. Like, engrave that in your mind. You have a premium skill. It does not matter how much money you're making right now. You have a premium skill as a trader. This is a skill that AI can't replace. This is a skill that you can't get fired from being a trader. You don't have to schedule was it PTO. You don't have to schedule 6 days, sick days. You don't have to call out to go be with your family. This is a premium skill. Nobody can take this away from you. It doesn't matter how much money people are making, how much money you're making. This is a premium skill. And when you really realize that, you start valuing it better than your banking account says. You don't need to wait till you're making X, Y, and Z to truly, really believe and be confident in yourself. You should walk around like that everywhere that you go, knowing that you have a skill. You're blessed. Be humble, knowing that you're blessed. You have this skill of trading, regardless of where you're at. That alone should make you just walk around with more confidence and just more faith and just more happiness and just more peace. Just to know that you have this skill, that brings peace. Because a lot of people, their life is already, set to where they're going to work for somebody for the rest of their life and they're living in fear. Why? Because they know that they are going to be replaced. AIs are going to replace majority of the jobs. They're already doing this now. The workers, that's why you go into every grocery store now and there's always more self-checkouts than there are people there. They're going to have robots that's going to be doing stocks and like shelves and stuff. They're going to have AIs that's replacing. They already have the Waymos and the AI driver in cars. So even like Kristen, like even for you, like delivery driving, that can be replaced. Like serious, like being honest, like delivery driving, because you see they got the DoorDash like bots and DoorDash cars and things of that sort. Of course, they'll still have like a lot of delivery drivers, but if there's a way to get it faster, to get it more secure, people are gonna pay that. So delivery driving, that the price, like the opportunity of that potentially decreases. All these things can be replaced by AI. Trading cannot. No AI can replace you as a trader. When you understand that, you understand these skills that you have. AIs can't replace, and AI can't replace me. Real talk. AI can't replace me because it can't replace me as a trader, and it can't replace AI can't replace my business as well too. Because you can have an AI try to build you out a system and X, Y, and Z and all that. Yeah, it can AI can build you a system, but an AI can't do what an actual human like me could do. Never. It just can't happen. And when you understand that, value it, trust in it, have faith, and that's all you can really do, man. Just keep trusting in God and continue to keep going.